In the remote village of Elmsbrook, an air of dread hung perpetually. Once a lively settlement, it had devolved into a near ghost town following the unexplained disappearances of its inhabitants. Only a handful of residents remained, living under a self-imposed curfew, and shadows that seemed to slither in the fog. Among the remaining villagers was an old man named Elias, a recluse by nature, who spent his days tending to his decrepit house and his nights nursing a lantern flame. Elias had long convinced himself that whatever was taking his neighbors would eventually come for him. He had accepted his fate, or so he thought. One night, as the fog closed in tighter than usual, the whispers began. At first, Elias dismissed them as the wind, but as minutes dragged into hours, they grew more persistent, circling his home in an eerie chant. Summoning unusual courage, Elias decided to confront the darkness. Donning his coat, he left the feeble safety of his dimly lit home. The whispers seemed to lead him to the edge of the forsaken woods that bordered the village. He was not alone. Agnes and William, two of the bolder villagers, had also decided to solve the mystery plaguing Elmsbrook. Their lanterns flickered, barely cutting through the oppressive dark. They exchanged tense nods and ventured further. The forest had a malevolence, an almost sentient presence. The further they advanced, the louder the whispers became, now more distinct, more pleading yet ominous. Suddenly, the ground beneath them trembled. When it stilled, a decrepit mansion materialized out of the fog, a building no one had ever seen before. Drawn by an invisible force, the trio approached the mansion, its doors creaking open as if expecting them. Inside, the air was thick with a nauseating scent of decay. Walls bore ancient, unrecognizable symbols that seemed to pulse with life. Faceless portraits lined the corridors, their eyeless gaze following the group. As Elias took a step forward, an ethereal figure materialized, a ghostly woman cloaked in shadows. "My children!" she moaned, extending a skeletal hand toward them. Agnes and William tried to retreat but found themselves rooted to the spot. Elias, too, felt an otherworldly force compelling him to listen. They were taken. "Your people, by the forest. Reclaim them, or join them," she whispered before disintegrating into a cloud of ash that drifted through the mansion. Realization dawned on Elias. The forest itself was a living entity, devouring souls to feed its hunger. They had to destroy its heart to save the remaining villagers. Gritting his teeth, Elias led Agnes and William to the mansion's core, a room pulsating with sinister energy. There, entangled in the roots of ancient trees, was a grotesque heart-like organ. Mustering all their courage, they attacked it, their blows synchronized with desperate fervor. The mansion groaned, shuddered, and began to disintegrate. As the heart finally split open, a blinding light erupted, engulfing them, and then, silence. Once the light faded, Elias, Agnes, and William found themselves back at the village square, the fog lifting, the whispers silenced. The remaining villagers began to emerge cautiously from their homes, hope rekindled in their weary eyes. The nightmares of Elmsbrook seemed to have ended, but the trio knew better. The forest had been quelled, but they sensed it, biding its time, waiting for the day it would hunger again.